Hey gamers, it's Key here. Welcome back to another one of my Final Fantasy XIV PvP ability guides. Today we are looking at our first caster on the list, the Black Mage. This class does a ton of damage. I love the reworks that it got in patch 7.1. I play this class all the time. However, it does have the most amount of button presses in PvP, so it can often be pretty confusing for new players to try and pick up. So I'm going to do my best to explain it to all of you, and hopefully you can get a good grasp of one of the most powerful DPS classes in PvP. So without further ado, let's look at the Black Mage. So the first important thing to note before I even talk about any of the buttons specifically is that this class has two stances. It has Fire Stance, which is showcased on ability 1, and Ice Stance, which is showcased on ability 2. When you are in Fire Stance, you must cast all of your spells. They have a cast bar. It takes about a second and a half to get all of your cast off. When you switch to Ice Stance, you do not have a cast bar, and you can move around freely. However, you do 75% damage. So the end of the fire combo, represented by High Fire 2, does 12,000. But if you switch to Ice and you get to the end of the Ice combo, which is High Blizzard 2, you only do 9,000 damage. But the perk is that it's instant cast. So I recommend using Ice Stance when you're trying to chase someone down or run away so you can keep uptime. But when you're in the middle of a fight and no one is touching you, you should be in Fire Stance. So there are 4 buttons on each of these abilities. For fire, there is Fire, Fire 3, Fire 4, and High Fire 2. When you are in a stance, you skip that first button that does the lowest amount of damage. So when the combo restarts, it restarts with Fire 3, then Fire 4, then back to High Fire 2. Same thing with Ice. You start with Blizzard, then Blizzard 3, then Blizzard 4, then High Blizzard 2, and it skips the first step and you go back to Blizzard 3. So that's the basic of Fire and Ice Stance with Black Mage. There is one more button that revolves around which stance you're in. This button is actually next to my Limit Break button. It is known as either Wreath of Fire or Wreath of Ice. When you're in Fire Stance and you press Wreath of Fire, you give a buff to yourself that attaches 4,500 damage extra to every spell you cast. The Wreath of Fire damage also goes through guard 100%. So, just because someone is sitting there in guard, your regular spell will hit them for reduced damage, but your Wreath of Fire will still do full damage. So, if you get a 1 health target running away from you in guard, pop Wreath of Fire and you might get a lucky low health kill. When you switch to Ice Stance, it turns into Wreath of Ice. Wreath of Ice is a 20% damage mitt with a reflect damage of 3,000 attached to it. So every time someone hits you, you will do 3,000 potency back at them for 10 seconds, as well as your mitt making you much, much harder to kill. Speaking of harder to kill, the next button is Burst. Burst is a short range lightning spell that does 15,000 damage. If you look up here on my top left on my bar, you can see that I also have a shield. That shield is also 15,000 and it lasts for 10 seconds. So when you are close to enemies, or they are maybe on top of you chasing you down because you're weak, you can pop Burst and get a really big shield on top of yourself to potentially keep yourself alive. Alright, so now let's talk about button 4. Button 4 goes in tandem with Fire and Ice Stance. When you switch stances or when you turn a stance on, you get Paradox. Paradox is an instant cast button. It does 9,000 damage, and it immediately skips you to the end of your combo. So if I'm in fire stance, pressing Paradox, then my next button will be high fire 2. If I switch to ice stance and I Paradox, then I skip to high blizzard 2. This can be really good for putting out high damage. One of the combos I do sometimes in any PvP match is I press high fire 2, Paradox, and then high fire 2 again. That's a way you can get some pretty decent value, because that is a total of about 33,000 potency and 3 spells, and that is a lot of damage, especially in CC. I don't really do that in ice stance, because most of the time in ice stance I'm just pressing buttons while I'm running away or chasing someone down. So Paradox is only accessible when you are going into a stance or when you are switching. Next, let's look at button 5, which is Xenoglossy. This button does 12,000 potency, and it also heals you for half of the damage you deal. So if you saw on my screen right there, it said Xenoglossy 6,000 in green, so that would be a heal if I was missing any of my health. Now, something very important to note with Xenoglossy is that this button is actually deadlier for your enemies when you're below 50% HP, because it makes you even harder to kill. What I mean is, when you are below 50% health, if you use Xenoglossy on an enemy, it will heal you for 16,000. The reason it heals you for 16,000 is because it only does 8k potency, but instead of healing for half the damage you deal, you heal for double the damage you deal. So if you're below 50% and you have several damage buffs on, that heal is going to be really, really big. I have gotten like as big as like 24 to 26k heals because I was Astra LB'd and I was weak. And when I pressed one Xenoglossy, I was full health. So it's a really scary button. You basically have 2 free extra recuperate charges in your kit, making Black Mage very, very hard to kill if only one target is on top of them. Alright, looking at number 6. This is Ethereal Manipulation. This is only an 8-second recast, and basically it's a teleport to a target. It can be to an enemy, it can be to an ally in your party, it can be to an ally in your alliance if you're playing Rival Wings or Frontline. It's a very powerful tool because it allows you to zip around the map really fast. It also goes in perfect combination with Burst. That is how you get your burst off. So if I do this basic opening combo here, when I dash to the enemy after my high fire, I can burst because I'm already in range of my enemy and make for some really scary damage. Okay, finally, the last regular ability on Black Mage is in my 8 slot here. It's called Lethargy. Let's talk about Lethargy for just a second. Lethargy is the most powerful regular ability in PvP, with the exception of cover on Paladin. The reason is, every 15 seconds, you can reduce somebody's damage by 1/3, which is 33%. That is insane, and it's 5-second uptime, so you only have 10-second downtime in between Lethargy casts when you're using it. You should press this button on cooldown. It is so strong. In CC, if you time it right, you can negate entire LBs just because you put a Lethargy in the right place. It looks like this. It also applies a 3-second heavy buff. So if somebody is running away without Purify, you can heavy them if you choose to make them easier to catch. Again, this button is super, super, super strong. Use it on cooldown when you're playing Black Mage. Use it to shut down LBs. Use it to catch people. Keep it on cooldown. It is a very, 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 very strong button. Alright, so now we need to look at the LB for Black Mage. This is called Soul Resonance. Soul Resonance is a stem. A stem means that it makes all of your regular abilities do extra damage. When you pop Soul Resonance, your fire button turns into flare, and your ice button turns into freeze. Flare is cast bar 12k damage, freeze is instant cast 9k damage. If you'll notice on my LB slot here, my button is changing from a fire icon and an ice icon. Depending on what stance you're in, you have access to either Flare Star or Frost Star. Flare Star in fire stance is a 20k potency. Yes, you heard that right. 20k potency fire spell AoE that also has a dot to it. That dot ticks for 3,000 damage for 12 seconds. Flare Star does a total of 32,000 damage. This LB is on a minute cooldown with a 30-second uptime, meaning that once you get your first LB in a match, you have it up for half of the rest of the game. This is how Black Mages do all their damage, is when they're sitting in LB. If the best time to kill a Black Mage is when they have just popped their LB, you can shut down a lot of their damage. The other button, which is in Ice Stance Frost Star, is a 15,000 potency hit AoE, and it affects the targets with Deep Freeze. You cannot press any buttons when you have the Deep Freeze effect on you. You can't press Guard. You can't press Purify. If you're going to avoid Deep Freeze, you have to have one of those two defensive buffs on you before it hits you. Otherwise, you're going to be standing there for 3 seconds for your enemies to wail damage on top of you. So keep in mind, a lot of Black Mages tend to use Flare cast, but then they briefly switch to Ice to throw their Deep Freeze to bait defensive abilities. And that's how a lot of lockdown happens for Black Mage. If you play this job in frontline, I tend to stay in fire as much as I possibly can. But if I'm playing in a 4-stack with friends and I have my LB, I'll say, hey, I can deep freeze the entire team for you. And I will deep freeze and we will go in and it will just be free kills upon free kills because they're all standing there. And they do not expect the amount of burst damage coming their way. Speaking of frontline / rival wings, let's take a look at what role actions are good for Black Mage. You have Rust, you have Comet, and you have Phantom Dart. My personal opinion, this is also in my Black Mage written guide, is to take Rust. The reason you take Rust is when you have your Ethereal Manipulation, your Burst, and your Rust up, you can do something that looks like this. You can basically press Burst and Rust at the same time when you dash into a pile of enemies. So if you have a friend who likes to play Dark Knight and they salted Earth on a group of 15 people, you have just hit 15 people with a Rust and a Burst cast at the same time. This button reduces their healing and their damage by 33%. So imagine if you put Lethargy and Rust on the same target. Congratulations, they do literally nothing. It's very strong, very easy to get in range to make it to land on multiple targets, which is always your goal in frontline. Comet, I used Comet at first, but I discovered that Comet was way too slow. It's too clunky of a cast, plus Black Mage doesn't need it. You already have so many fire spells that do so much damage that you don't even need to worry about taking it. Phantom Dart is fine, but your entire kit, besides basically Xenoglossy, is AoE damage when you're playing frontline, because when you're running from fight to fight, you always have LB, so you always have Flare or Freeze Cast. So since Phantom Dart only goes on one target, I recommend taking Rust over Phantom Dart. So now let's talk about a little bit more of the combos, because we have gone over all of the buttons. There is a lot to Black Mage combos, and if I tried to sit here and explain everything, I would be here all day, and I don't want to be here all day. So basically, I will show you some of the basic combos. When you have your LB, you want to try to be in fire stance, if you can. When you're in your LB in fire stance, you have access to Wreath of Fire. So when you press Wreath of Fire while throwing Flare Cast, these casts do 16,500 damage instead of just 12,000 damage. As well as Flare Star doing 24,500 in one hit. So before you LB, try and make sure that your Wreath is available for use. That's one of the basic tips. When you are playing CC on this class, and you are loading into a game and you are about to have an opening fight, there is an optimal way for you to get the most amount of damage if you can. So here's what that looks like. So for opener on CC, it's Fire, Wreath of Fire, Paradox, High Fire 2, Dash, Burst. Xenoglossy. Speaking of Xenoglossy, not only is Xenoglossy very useful for healing and keeping yourself alive, but it makes for crazy burst numbers. So when you have access to a High Fire 2 and you have Wreath of Fire on, you press High Fire 2 and Xenoglossy immediately after, you have just done 33,000 damage in 2 hits. What? That's insane. You just did half of a caster's or healer's or Fizz Range's health bar because you clicked 2 buttons. 3 technically, but 2 cast is the point. So the Xenoglossy burst is there. High Fire, Xenoglossy, dash in, burst. You've basically just done someone's entire health bar with those 3 buttons without LB. So when you see a Black Mage in fire stance, they are a lot harder to kill because they do not have access to their mitt. However, they still have a lot of useful tools to keep themselves alive. They have a 15k shield from burst. They have a 20% mitt and 3k damage reflect on Wreath of Ice. They have Lethargy, and they have Xenoglossy heals, as well as your standard guard, recuperate, and purify. This class is extremely hard to lock down. When you are playing CC, do not rat a Black Mage unless they are completely out of mana and they have like 5k health. Even then, you may still not kill them because they might Xenoglossy their way to full health and they might kill you instead. Do not rat this class by yourself. Make sure there is at least one other person with you because it will be a lot easier. As far as other combos go, again, if I wanted to explain all of them, I would be here all day long, and I don't want to be here all day long. Stay in fire stance as much as you possibly can. When you have to run away and you want to keep uptime, use your ice stance, use your Wreath of Ice for your mitt, and start running away. Use your burst shield on top of yourself too if you have to. It's an extra 15k health, leaving you with a total of 69,000 health, which is absurd for a caster. And then I would say that the most important point for Black Mage is to use Lethargy smart and as often as you possibly can. So that pretty much concludes my Black Mage guide. I hope if you have never touched this class before, that you learn something from it, And even if you don't plan to play this class, now you might know how to play against it. So thank you all for tuning in. I now will show you a series of 5 games in a row that I had on stream. I won 4 of the games. I did solid damage in all of them, and hopefully it will be a good showcase for anybody curious in learning Black Mage.
Well then, that turned around a little more than I expected it to.
That's not something you meant.
I don't usually do this move, but I'm going to. There things are lit in here, fam. Oh, I know what I need to do. I'm insane. I'm the goat. Alright. Where are you, dancing buddy? Let me give you the hooton of dreams.
Oh my god, bro, fucking kill him.
Yeah, I put a nice sheet. Oh, wait, you aren't in this game.
That team doesn't press any damage. Are you fucking kidding me? Team, come on, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is insane.
Oh, wow. That was a totally valid trade that I intended to do. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Get fucked.
All right. GG's.
Sorry. That was very satisfying.
We'll just wait for those guys and probably look to get some games and. I can't believe I've already been live for 5 hours. Then again, I think I didn't do anything for the first like 20 minutes. Ayo, just Eden, valid. Noodles doesn't heal me when we're in matches together.
Look at this damage differential on this team, by the way. Look at this.
That is completely false. I healed you so much. I cleansed you so much that game. Go back and watch the replay, man.
But you don't heal me in JP.
Oh, because I don't play healer on JP.
Oh, okay then. Fair enough. I was sitting here there wondering, where are my heals? Where are my heals?
Where are the hills?
All right.
Where were the hills?
There it is.
Where were the
Oh my
hills?
god. Oh my god. That moment in Final Fantasy, like, history is just
Funny.
timeless.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, little Zanny, win next queue time.
Next queue time will be 7:15 ET.
Oh shit.
Yep, which is really soon. Almost now,
3,
actually.
2, 1, go.
I actually waited until it turned. Am I gonna get left behind?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, I didn't pop either. I don't think any of us did. Unless we're
Alright,
about to watch, like,
synchronized
Lily or
popping.
Pitcher get yinked. Pop.
Alright.
Surely we win this, right? Surely. 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 Oh no. I'm sorry, Tomo, is your ping worse than mine?
No, yours is triple his.
Wait, Tomo's ping is triple mine?
No, yours is triple his ping.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, bruh. 70? Wait, love, what's your ping? Sorry, Ms. X. Oh. Little Zanny playing Little Delete. My ground pot. Yes, a chronic. Speak that Australian language of 170 ping. Oh, hey, Tomo.
Guys. Bruh.
Yeah, no worries.
He didn't have Purify. But you should have waited.
Oh, shit. I'll wait for you in a second, mate. Yeah, I said those words.
I'm just a point kitten.
We all are.
Somebody's got to do it.
By the way, I don't feel like guarding, so... Okay.
I think it's a regroup angle.
Yeah, you think?
No, no, this is a fight 1v5, right, Q?
No.
What did I do to my game for a second? Alright. That was a little bit close.
We're gonna lose.
No, this is fine. We have the 99.9% comeback possibility. Think about this.
Oh yeah.
The last 30 seconds
sure.
of the game is the only time that matters. As much as I hate that statement, it's totally false. See, this is the turnaround. I told you. Hey, Tomo. Hey, Tomo.
Reacted! Oh, the fighting game training.
Now, I have an idea, chat.
What, you want me to hit you in Sheetan, you silly goose?
Absolutely.
Nice, dude. Nice ninja LB. Nice. Good turnaround. GG.
I told you that the comeback would happen, didn't I?
You did.
I'm literally
Trust
that
the,
guy.
Trust the laser.
That's the laser. Yeah, that laser at that laser on our side of the map was pretty fat.
Oh, far out. Okay, I'll play a couple more before I take a little break. I'll go back to Samurai for a little bit, though.
God, I hate Purify. Yo, so real.
Thank you, teammates. I'll do the last time call out for me for now. 10:05 ET.
Three, two, one, Q.
Insta. You know what's good? I'm starting to have to think less about pressing buttons on Ninja. I'm just pressing the buttons now.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I still overthink everything, but, you know. Okay. Oh, thank you, Mizzix, for the dance partner. I will do no. I will not stay within your range. I'm sorry. I very quickly end up in the back line of the enemy team. Good stuff. Oh wait, I'm playing Samurai this game. Actually, that doesn't change exactly what I do. The exact same thing regardless. What happened to my guard out of curiosity? Did I instantly double take it down? I haven't done that for a while. You having a good time there, Noodles?
Nope.
Oh, it was so close. Glad that beam didn't hit me, not gonna lie. Well, that was,
Oh, jeez.
Oh. All right, not too bad for a break game for me. All right, good luck in the rest of your games, guys. Everybody, make sure to go hop into Keystream while I'm gone. Because I'm probably gonna take, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes of a break, maybe even more. We'll have to see when I get back. I'll put the Twitch link for Key in the channel real quick. All right, no, I'll continue streaming, just taking a extended.
Yeah, I'm also gonna I'm gonna step out for a little bit. I didn't get my nap today, and my sleep schedule is so fucked. So I need to lay
Okay.
down for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'll probably be back if you guys are still playing later.
Okay.
Peace.
See ya.
Oh. All right, I'm gonna make food.
Who followed me? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I believe that is love, right?
Yeah,
That's their character name. Yeah.
I think so. Ugh.
Uh. Wait, he missed that? Sucks. Where the fuck is my team? Okay. Just got erased because no one from my team is there. Oh, my team is fucking awful. Unfortunate. Okay. I'll queue at 105. Nope. Oh, we have no melees, and then the other team only has Tomo. Range disease in full effect today, gamers. Bar is crazy. Oh my god, I didn't stop that. That blows. Got around the corner. Black Mage is dead. That guy's dead. I gotta be more careful about using Black Mage LB. I keep wasting it in some spots. I can die. This guy can die. Holy shit, what just happened to my team? Oh, it wasn't enough. That guy's dead. Oh. Fake melee. Oh, my friends are still in queue. Queue up. Let's see. Are we looking 5? Okay. I waited until we were all out to pop. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Ooh, Bard. 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 Oh, my Bard. Those guys getting destroyed by the tornado. Like, hit him. Come on. Black Mage damage is so dumb. I think I just got a one-shot. Just had a tornado. Oop, I stole a spot on accident. Sorry, Tomo.